I'm back again in Sherwood Forest today on the trail of pseudoscorpions, and my instrument of choice gets some rather strange looks. So the tray, what's it for? It's simply for sorting on. And the idea being, you take a handful of leaf litter, spread it on the tray. This is the technique I use. You can use a sieve, but that's just something else you've got to cart around the woods. And then you put some eyes on once you've given it a good shake through to dislodge anything. And then it's a case of sitting and watching to see what turns up. Now the same technique can be used for looking for inverts under dead bark or loose bark, whether that's on fallen logs or cut off logs like this, or whether it's just loose dead bark on the trees. The same technique applies. Finding or looking for a false scorpion, which are very small, on something like this is very difficult. They take some spotting, especially this time of year, that when uncovered they'll sit motionless. Anyway, false scorpions often do, even in leaf litter samples. They don't always appear obviously, but it's quite a pleasant pastime. You might get your fingernails dirty, so and it is somewhat akin to looking for a needle in a haystack. But you'll be surprised at the number of invertebrates that can be found even within a handful of leaf litter. But beware, they'll be small. This is Broad Drive, looking away from the major oak up towards the centre tree, and I'm about halfway between the two. This, I'm led to believe, used to be the old London road. No doubt the haunt of some merry-old bloke, and it's even merrier men. But it's on the branches, the fallen branches of these Napoleonics on the right hand side of Broad Drive that I'll be basing my search. The search for Cherney's simicoides. It's an impressive thing for something a few millimetres long. Well, as the sun tries to peek through a gap in the clouds, amongst the falling leaves, there's quite a bit of foliage still to come down. In fact, there's quite a bit of foliage to lose its green coloration yet. Some oaks are still 95% green. The first period of really cold weather, which is likely over the next week, will no doubt sort it all out. This is a potentially suitable tree. It's not an ancient, but it's well exposed to south, which is up there. South-facing trees are often the best, but certainly trees, and dead trees in particular, or those with dead branches that have a southerly aspect, are favoured by pseudoscorpions. So there's plenty of soft, dry bark or old timber to have a go at here. And usually, my experience with churning simicoides, rather than have wood that's sort of coming away from the top, you want wood that's sort of loose at the bottom. That way, when it rains and water runs down the tree, this bit won't be suitable because the water runs down and collects at the back of this. So ideally you want a bit where the top is fixed, the bottom is loose, that way the rain runs down. There's a bit more to this than what you might think. The bark is incredibly loose, and it's easy just to take the bark off and just give it a light tap, and then that bark can be reinserted. So I'm not destroying anything by doing this, replacing the bark, no harm done. And then we have a look on the tray and realise we've not found it. Ooh, not our intended quarry, but I'll fix the camera up to have a closer look. This is the larva of a species I've seen numerous times as an adult, and it's one of our most spectacular invertebrates. So this is the larva of a snake fly. Snake flies are wonderful, and before I talk any more about this, I'll bung you a photo in here so you can see what this will be next May. Now this is only the second time that I've seen snakefly larvae. The first one was a number of years ago, and Dillis and I found one larger than this under the bark of pine on Budby. And now one of those instances where we regretted not taking it because it potentially it could well have been a new species of snake fly for Nottinghamshire. Now, there are a few snake flies anyway. If I remember right, there are just 4 UK species, 2 of which are in Nottinghamshire, one being Phytostigma nutana, which is the most commonly recorded snake fly, and the other one having the wonderful name of Xanthostigma. And these are quite unique insects. They're absolutely stunning. They have good eyesight, so they will react to a hand moving over them, and they'll move backwards as well as forwards. I'm still having no joy with either technique in terms of finding false scorpions. It can be something of a painstaking process. And you're just looking for something on here to start moving and be something different. I'll get another handful of litter. So you can use a sieve, but I prefer to just give it a decent shake. And then take off the loose stuff. And once you gradually work off the loose stuff, it's a case of sitting and watching. But you will be amazed at what is contained within a handful of litter. There will be lots of small wood lice, an assortment of spiders, and we've even got the little harvestman here. But saying it's quite often you can sit and stare at it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then all of a sudden you'll notice that in one of the clear gaps there's a little pseudoscorpion shoveling about. You get lots of springtails, but there's a wide array of a miniature world, a glimpse into a miniature world. Try another sample. I'm taking a sample from in front of a fallen log, and you best to not just take the leaves, but just the top layer of leaf litter that's been there a couple of years. there's a large amount of work can be gained to do. And here's a nice little thing, look. You can see that there. But that is Scophidium quadrimaculatum, and it's actually a rove beetle. Had a good year this year. After a couple of years with very few records, I've done well for that. But yeah, surprisingly, I'll drop a photo in to show you what it's like. It's a beautiful thing. And in with samples, in virtually every single leaf litter sample you'll take from anywhere, you'll get some incredibly tiny beetles that are around about 1 millimetre long. And if I remember right, the family's Toledae, and there goes the Scophidium. But yeah, lots of small Toledae beetles that are in great need of being recorded at Sherwood, but because you're dealing with a family that's predominantly under 2 millimetres in length, no one's going to bother a great deal. Right, I'll rearrange the leaf litter back, try and get up off the floor. Well, I'll have to admit defeat today on the false scorpion front. I'm sat under the centre tree, scorpionless, but we did get snakefly. Well, at least the larvae. There's always another day, plenty of time over the winter to find journeys. Could be another quest. The quest for journeys. But for now, I'm going to have 5 minutes here, sat under my favourite tree, the centre tree, and gaze out towards the Arch House. One time a day, you could sit here and look down over Clipston Old Quarter, across the Susterns grass strip, and see the Arch House down here, down towards Clipston Village. If you want to know what you can see now, not so scenic, is it? Oh, did you hear my back then? So that's it for another day. Got a mile to walk back to the car. Well, won't get very far sat here, will I? Well, here's a big surprise in one way, but not in another way. This is Chrysalina brunswichensis, and I've just found this walking back down through Clipston Old Quarter. And this is within the NNR, so this is a new species for the Sherwood Forest National Nature Reserve. It's recently been found at sites near Budby Pumping Station, near Thinghow, Blidworth Woods, and all by David Shaw, and I found it at Carberton. The key seems to be St John's wort growing along woodland rides, especially in pine plantations. And I'm especially pleased to find this here because, funny enough, there's ample amounts of St John's wort here at top end of Clipston Old Quarter, but we never even recorded Chrysalina hypericai. And I was just having a casual look and check of the heads and found this. Now I'll take some photos just to confirm the ID, but when they're that sort of burgundy purple almost, they invariably turn out to be Chrysalina brunswickensis. So that's a new species for the Sherwood Forest National Nature Reserve, which off the top of my head will make 1,203 species of beetle. Even at the end of November, there are things awaiting discovery. Right, time to get the camera out.